Pat's Bridal Boutique, celebrating 40 years in business. Hundreds of gowns on sale. Select bridals start at $99, and full price bridals are 20% off. Select bridesmaids gowns only $25, and short summer dresses for special occasions start at $29. Never too early to think about prom. All Pat's prom gowns also on sale, so hurry for best selection. Star Spangled Savings end July 31st. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Pat's Bridal Boutique, West Crawford Avenue in Connellsville.
It's the perfect time to upgrade your outdoor area with a new fence from All Around Fence Company, conveniently located on Route 40 in Uniontown. All Around Fence has been installing quality residential, commercial, and farm fencing for more than 46 years. Offering residential fencing including chain link, decorative aluminum, steel, and more, All Around Fence has the fence for you. All Around Fence is also your one-stop shop for Neutrina products and carries Weaver equine and livestock supplies and Prefert farm equipment. So, if you need to upgrade an existing fence, add a new gate, or are considering the installation of new farm fencing, visit All Around Fence, open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 to 1, or give them a call at 724-439-0331. To learn more, visit allaroundfence.com.
In a world of big corporations and interpersonal experiences, there's something truly special about family-owned businesses. For over 70 years, the Mike Kelly Automotive family has been serving the community with integrity, honesty, and a commitment to putting families first. And we're not stopping anytime soon. Our commitment to excellent sales and service remains stronger than ever. Visit us today and experience the Mike Kelly Automotive difference. Because when you buy from us, you buy from family.
Wind, hail, sudden leaks. When your roof takes a beating, we're here for you at AR Roofing and Remodeling. We're a locally and veteran-owned contractor available 24/7 for repairs. As an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we get the job done right. Call 724-550-3064 or visit arremodels.com for your free estimate.
AR Roofing, never settle.
Hi, this is Dave Dunaway, and I'm here to remind you that Franco's Golf Center is open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by and see Franco's facility on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Franco's service area includes a lighted driving range and golf pro shop. Even my game has improved thanks to golf lessons with Franco's PGA instructors. Franco's also offers full custom club fitting and repairs by certified club fitter Greg Franco. Franco's is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Give Franco's a call at 724-438-6651.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office, located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991, for the fine art of dentistry.
Tired of running out of hot water? Koval Building Supply at 40 Monroe Avenue in Uniontown is your local source for reliable tank and tankless gas water heaters. Whether you're replacing an old unit or upgrading to an energy-efficient tankless system, we have options to fit your home and budget. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help you get dependable hot water when you need it most. Call Koval today at 724-437-8824 or visit kovalsupply.com. Koval Building Supply. Everything you need to keep your home running comfortably.
Your local station, 590 WMBS. I hear voices in my head.
Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, the voice of reason, Dave Dunaway. It's Thursday, July 30th, 2026, and you're listening to the Sports Force on location. You know, before I get started here, let me address a few things. Nick and I went to the draft back in April And all I've heard since is how fake of a statement that is. People are saying we weren't really there. You saw the inside of our tent. We got it to look just like WMBS Studio. We had the official signs all over the place, and still people don't believe that we were there. Now, we didn't get all the way to the draft. We got to the Clementi Bridge and then had to take a rickshaw over. But we did get so far, and yet to this day, still the doubt that's out there. Now I'm hearing it again. You see we've got the same tent. You can see it, I'm guessing, if you're watching on TV. And Nick is there. Nick is in this tent. It should be adorned with all of the official training camp things. And we are telling you the Sports Voice is live on location at St. Vincent. There's even a photo. There's even a photo. And people have told me that's AI, that's fake. It looks like it was taken of me 20 years ago. Hey, just so you know, I could have passed for that picture 10 years ago. Actually, I could have passed for that picture 5 years ago. But still, all this doubt that is there. But Nick is going to dispel all of that doubt here in the next hour as he tells you about all of the great things that are happening in Latrobe at St. Vincent's College. And I know I'm going to hear it. Where are you? You're not there. You're not in this shot. There's no way you're there. I will explain. Just give me time. I will explain exactly what's going on. But I figured all the other locals are at St. Vincent. Why can't WMBS go? Why can't a top show like the Sports Voice go to St. Vincent's and report on all the nonsense everyone else is reporting on? I told you last week, by the time Thursday rolls around, what are you going to be hearing about? The battle for the third-string quarterback. And it's so funny because now it sounds like it's the battle for the second-string quarterback. Apparently, Mason Rudolph has been written off in this storyline, and now it looks like it's Will Howard and Drew Howler. Whoever wins this competition is going to be number 2 and number 3. Listen, you people haven't been paying attention. You're not listening to the clown ownership. You're not listening to the whole above-the-mean topic that comes up every single year. You're not listening to the future is right now. Nobody's looking ahead. Nobody cares about Aller and Howard. If it got to a point where either Aller or Howard would have to play this year, the Steelers would go out on the scrap heap and bring in a free agent who is not currently on any roster before they will let one of those two play. Because one of those two guys playing signals the end of the season. The end of a season that does not put them above the mean. With that being said, the quarterback is the primary focus of most NFL teams. The quarterback is the primary focus of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's not the battle for third string or second string or whatever string you think either of those two morons is going to have this year. The quarterback in question is a guy who's going to turn 43 years old by the time this season's over, Aaron Rodgers, who announced supposedly 100% as he arrived on Tuesday that this is his final season in the NFL. I'll believe that when he writes it in blood at the end of the year, but he's claiming that his ego finally is going to allow him to retire. I assume he'll get a TV gig somewhere, maybe on one of the streaming services that you're going to have to buy to watch at least 15 games next year. I'm sure he'll be somewhere, but he claims it will not be in an NFL uniform on an NFL roster. My comment to that is, we'll see. There should be a number of other battles at camp, but we're certainly not hearing about them, although we are hearing about some intriguing storylines, some changes in the way practices are being held, not just the time. We know McCarthy's practicing at 11:30, where Tomlin practiced, I don't know, anywhere between 3 and 9 p.m. So you never knew from day to day when that was going to happen. So we are getting a little bit of a change there. The way practice is structured has been a huge change. We'll talk a little bit about that. There's no tackling that's going to take place. Maybe that's a good thing. And we're looking at Carolina. Carolina just lost another player for the season, this Brazel kid, their third-round pick, wide receiver. So maybe it is time to rethink how training camp and these practices are done, think about how many Steelers normally are injured during some action in training camp. So McCarthy looks like trying to minimize that, but also trying to maximize the opportunities that people get. A lot of drills have been done the first few days that are like end of game type things. Boy, that'd be nice, because think about how many games the Steelers have lost in the last decade down to the very wire. Not in the playoffs. They're usually getting blown out in the first period of the playoffs. But when you look at some of the others and the things that are taking place, I like what I'm hearing. We're hearing a lot about the defense and some of the changes there, especially the defensive line, which is supposed to be the highlight for the Pittsburgh Steelers D. The secondary, I think, will come in a close second. The linebacking core, that's going to need a lot of work. These guys are going to have to learn how to play linebacker, not just pass rusher and pass defender, which is what they've done with outside and inside over the last several years. And, of course, the offensive line, a surprise appearance from Broderick Jones. There were rumors that Broderick Jones, former first-round pick out of Alabama, might be done for his career with that neck fusion. He's there. Who knows what? I mean, people weren't exactly happy with him until the very end. Maybe when he got hurt and they started to see how much worse the other linemen were, people started to miss him a little bit. But this is a guy they traded up to play him at left tackle, couldn't play left tackle, put him at right tackle, couldn't play right tackle, put him back at left tackle, couldn't really play there either. So it's sort of a mixed bag, but we'll talk a lot about literally everything Pittsburgh Steeler related. There's never a shortage once training camp starts at the end of July. And, of course, Nick is still there, so I'm sure he's got a lot to talk about as well, revolving around what's going on with training camp. I'm actually trying to get interviews. I figured I'll go to the number one place that you can get Steeler interviews at this time of the year, Dave & Buster's, but I haven't seen any Steelers, so just kind of waiting around. I'll keep you updated if I see or hear anything there. Rumor has it a lot of the Steelers are like actually staying at camp, which is weird. So maybe movie night tonight, not sure, or maybe just a total revamp of how things are normally done. There's a lot of news from around the National Football League as well. I've already heard for the last 2 days. Anytime you hear a story about a quarterback who's disgruntled, you're going to see them linked to Pittsburgh. Because now with Aaron Rodgers saying this is definitely his last year, anybody is going to be a potential get. And the name that I've heard the last couple of days is Baker Mayfield, who definitely fits the disgruntled role, says he's very disrespected by the last offer he was given in Tampa Bay. Think about the numbers that he's put up the last couple of years. And you start to ask yourself next year, would Baker Mayfield potentially come to Pittsburgh? Well, if Mike Tomlin's the head coach, I say it's a hard no. But with Mike McCarthy, I think anything's possible. I think literally any quarterback out there available could potentially come to Pittsburgh. And we know the ownership isn't going to change. So if you're holding out hope that one of these two young quarterbacks is going to play next year, they're not. I would hope for maybe a situation like Baker Mayfield so you don't have another Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or something like that coming your way. But I think there will be intrigue. I think you're going to see some changes in the offense for the Steelers. It's going to look more like the rest of the NFL. And I think it will catch the eyes and attention of a lot of those quarterbacks in the National Football League. There's news from Atlanta. Tua Tagovailoa, who maybe was going to go down there and be the starter, competing with Michael Penix. Both guys are hurt to start camp. So the Falcons going to a plan B, and you wonder how injured are these two, and will you actually get to see anything out of either one of them that dictates who should win that job. Of course, Kyler Murray trying to win a job over J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota. We've got word that Daniel Jones is 100% and in camp in Indy, and we're only a week away from the Hall of Fame game. So if all of this seems early to talk a lot about the NFL, in a week you're going to have a game on TV, and that's going to get everybody all fired up and ready for football. Now, what does that do to baseball? Well, the Pirates have lost a couple in a row to the team they were competing for the wild card spot, Arizona. who actually now has moved into that second wild card spot. The Pirates start a 4-game series with last place Cincinnati tonight. And don't count Cincinnati short. They're a team, they've gotten some pitchers back, and they've gotten better. Their winning percentage is actually better than the Pirates over the last couple of weeks. And the Pirates are going to start Yohan Ramirez, their middle reliever. I'm sure Carmen Majinski loves that. They're going to start Yohan Ramirez tonight against Rhett Lauder. And then, of course, the marquee matchup tomorrow, Paul Skeens and Hunter Green, Ashcraft and Abbott on Saturday. And then on Sunday, you've got Mitch Keller and Chase Burns. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Maybe save the Pirates for the second hour. I feel like we've been doing a lot of first-hour Pirate stuff. And not that I'm trying to diminish where they are or what they've been doing, but, hey, it's football season now, everyone. I mean, normally this time of year, everyone's begging to talk Steelers. So we're going to try to do our best to get as much of that Steeler talk in as possible. Nick, not a whole lot happening at Dave & Buster's. What's going on at St. Vincent?
Well, Dave, it's just wonderful to be here. The weather's great, the wind blowing through my hair. It's just great. Lake Trobe is beautiful this time of year. St. Vincent is alive. And Will had a great day today. I should have led with that. What a beautiful day at training camp. Coach McCarthy says, "What's up, Sports Voice?"
Hey, do you have the tent flaps open? Because people keep saying that we're just still you're in studio, and I'm probably in my house.
They're haters, Dave.
We're still getting it. They're haters. They act like all we want to do is just make fun of everything, that we don't take anything seriously on here. So hopefully you have the tent flaps open. They can see some air blowing through the WMBS studio tent, which, by the way, looks just like WMBS studio. I'm surprised we were able to keep that thing because we kind of left it on the Clemente Bridge after the draft.
Right.
So I thought for sure, some of the homeless would be in there or something. But they got it. They were able to rescue it and bring it back. So, yeah, I'm curious. I don't know if you got out to talk to anybody. None of the locals will talk to me. They tell me I'm too mean to the Pirates, so they don't want to have a conversation with me. But I thought, well, you're out there mingling with the players. Aaron Rodgers, I know you've become a big fan. You guys are going out to dinner. Is that tonight or tomorrow?
He and the missus. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, finally someone's going to have interactions with her, yeah.
People wonder whether or not he actually spends any time at St. Vincent. People think he flies in on his private jet to practice and then flies right back out after, because we know that, he's never met a fan that he actually wanted to talk to. So he tries to avoid all of that. I did see him, it was the first day, yesterday, where fans were there, where he was running in, actually high-fiving the line as he came in. Sure, he won't do that again, but at least he did it on the first day. And he's really the subject of our first big story, Nick, because, he said a while ago that this was going to be his last year, and we kind of laughed it off and said, oh, there's no way, especially if he has a decent year. He's probably going to say, well, I can come back again at 43. And, he's no Tom Brady. Tom Brady looked like he was in his 20s when he was in his early to mid-40s. Rodgers certainly doesn't look like that. Don't forget, if you think that he does, go back and go onto YouTube, find that playoff game against Houston, and tell me if he looks like he's in his 20s there. But Aaron Rodgers confirming on Tuesday that this, without a shadow of a doubt, is his final season in an NFL uniform. Do you believe this?
Well, speaking with him as I have this week, Dave, yes. I mean, Aaron, I think it's enough. If they go on a run this year, and by a run I mean win 9-10 games and go to the playoffs, maybe he'll be convinced that he should come back if he sees there's something brewing here. But he seems to be in a great mood. He is talking to his offensive line. He's saying good things about Roman Wilson. He has the new head coach, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. It was his old boss in Green Bay back in the day. So we're not inside his head, obviously, but I think this is most likely it. And maybe he even mentors some of these younger guys. I mean, now you have McCarthy, an offensive-minded coach, and you have Aaron Rodgers, a future Hall of Famer, and those are great mentors for these young guys. And even Mason Rudolph as well, I think, could maybe do what Ben Roethlisberger did not do and help out some of these young quarterbacks on the roster. Aller looked good yesterday. Had looked good today. So, yeah, I think this is most likely it for Aaron, and we'll see how it goes. The offense will certainly look better, and, new staff, but same quarterback as last year, and Hopefully the ending is better than last year, but I think the start of the season will be good because when you're 42, you're going to be fresh at the beginning of the season, but maybe not so much towards the back end of it. So it's going to be exciting. But yeah, I think it's his last year.
And people can say what they want and they can interpret what they want. And I know everybody went through the motions so well last year and played the game perfectly. But this year will be a breath of fresh air for Aaron Rodgers. Whether he came out and said it or not, Aaron Rodgers could not stand the Mike Tomlin offense, nor could any other quarterback that was forced to endure it over the last couple of years. It ruined Justin Fields. Look at what it did to Russell Wilson. When Wilson improvised, he got called in and chastised for it. Rodgers played the game well, but in the end, it didn't get the Steelers any further because at the end of the day, that offense is still garbage. This is not that offense. And I think looking at, as you said, the different atmosphere around Aaron Rodgers. DK Metcalf was interviewed earlier today, and he talked about Rodgers inviting a bunch of them over for a bonfire at his home. And among those people, Roman Wilson, the guy that Rodgers got benched last year because Wilson couldn't understand the plays. Apparently, the playbook is much less complicated and much more Rodgers-driven this year. That Wilson is thriving. He was thriving in the OTAs. He's been thriving in the little get-togethers that he's been having with Metcalf, Pittman, and Rodgers. I mean, Roman Wilson is the legit number 3 receiver, and from what Metcalf is saying, going to be a huge part of this offense. And now he and Rodgers are like best friends. The Steelers need somebody to emerge, and I don't think it's going to be Jeremy Bernard. I think as much as everybody likes him and the fact that he went to Alabama, he's a little tiny receiver who's never going to get off the line. That's what today's NFL is. The defense is bigger, the defense is faster, and if you're not a big receiver, you have a hard time getting off the line, which is going to be able to allow you to run your route and get open. The Steelers messed up royally in the first round of the draft, drafting like they had just won the Super Bowl. You had 2 big receivers. You had Boston and you had Concepcion. The Steelers passed on both of them to draft a converted soccer player to come and now be a backup offensive lineman if Broderick Jones is going to play. You could have solidified a legit threat at number 3 with the big Metcalf and the big Pittman at 1 and 2. I mean, you could have had giants out there running routes, including your tight ends, Washington and Freiermuth. And once again, another botch by Omar Khan. I think you're going to be disappointed with what you see out of Bernard this year. I think you're going to be a little bit excited and intrigued by what you see out of Roman Wilson. I think Rodgers is kind of feeling it out, and people are still anticipating, Alan Lazard's going to be here, and maybe Donald Driver, depending on how far you want to go back. Remember, Rodgers has been around forever. Maybe Robert Brooks will be back.
Jordy Nelson, yeah. I spotted him in Lake Trobe this week. I think I did.
Well, they did bring in Robert Tonyan, so that should tell you all you need to know.
Howard threw a great ball to him today. Yeah, it looked great.
Yeah, well, hey, maybe he'll rejuvenate and resurrect himself. But it's not going to happen. They're going to go with what they have. You've got 2 receiver spots that are already sewn up. Ben Skoronek's going to make the team because he plays special teams. Thad Watkins going to make the team because he's going to be the kick and punt returner. So you've got 4 other guys, Metcalf, Pittman, Roman Wilson, Jeremy Bernard. There's your 6. There's no sense in even having a competition at receiver.
No.
You're not going to keep 7, and you're going to keep all those guys because you're going to dress the last 2 every single game. I think Bernard's going to be the one that doesn't get dressed, Nick. I expect not huge things, but much bigger things out of Roman Wilson and the new connection that he's made with Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I also saw Adam Thielen on TV this week. I'm shocked he's not on the roster this year. Rodgers threw a few passes to him last year in the black and gold. But, yeah, it's time to move on. And, yeah, the draft wasn't ideal. And, by the way, I love that you called it the Mike Tomlin offense. I keep hearing it's the Arthur Smith offense or even a few years ago the Matt Canada offense. Let's not kid ourselves.
If it looks the same through all those different coordinators, it's the Mike Tomlin offense.
Exactly. It's been the Mike Tomlin offense forever, ever since, I don't know, he got there maybe. I mean, it's basically been his offense since, there are some OCs, I think, who had more say over the years or were better. I mean, Arians and, Well,
they
wasn't
got
high.
fired.
Right. I'm just saying there were some that were better than others, but it was always the Mike Tomlin offense because he
And you
dictated
know what
the way
that
it
offense,
went.
you know what that offense revolved around, Nick?
Well,
Fear.
Yeah.
Fear that the quarterback would lose the game for the defense.
Right. It was teeth clenched football, and that's not the way McCarthy's going to do it. He knows the way of the NFL now is to score a lot of points, to score more, faster, and this offense will look different. It'll be spread out. I think it's going to be exciting to watch. The personnel is not, incredible. I mean, the number one receiver is Pittman. I guess DK is the number two. I mean, this is not exactly JSN and Justin Jefferson, but certainly when you have a future Hall of Famer, even in his last year, even on his last legs, with an offensive-minded coach that he's used to and a system that he is going to be used to, I think it's going to only look better. It's impossible for it not to look better. So, yeah, I mean, it's a new direction for this organization. They're bringing the quarterback back from last year, but a new staff, some new pieces. And the draft, you mentioned the holes in that draft by Omar Khan, but I think there could be some shockers in there. I mean, maybe Bernard. He is a small guy, but maybe he steps up. We'll see about some of the other names in there. I'm excited. I think 2026, there's just a breath of fresh air here at Latrobe that we haven't had since, 2007, when the old guy started his tenure.
Well, this is going to be a huge year for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, primarily the quarterback and the wide receiver position. And that's why I started with them before I got into the running back and, of course, the most crucial part, the offensive line and the tight end piece. But I think...
My boy Jennings Dunker.
When you look at the Steelers, they're never going to be, as long as they have this current ownership, and they'll have them forever, they're never going to be a team that's going to be willing to rebuild. So if Mike McCarthy can come in and revolutionize this passing game and make it look like the rest of the NFL, with Aaron Rodgers at the helm at the end of his career, they need that to happen to lure players to this team. People talked for years about how much they wanted to play for Tomlin, but when it came time to put pen to paper, they never did because they knew the garbage that offense was. If you can make this a more prolific passing offense, maybe you get a Baker Mayfield next year. And if you get Baker Mayfield, maybe you get a top-tier receiver, somebody who's either not happy that you go and make a trade for. Ask New England how that worked out, bringing A.J. Brown in. Or maybe through free agency, but usually the top-tier guys, they don't get to free agency until they're in their mid-30s. So you might be able to go out and acquire a big name if you're able to show that you're committed to look like the rest of the NFL. These guys, and I'm sure there's a little piece that cares about whether or not they win a championship, but the guys in today's NFL, they are concerned 100% with stats. They're stat collectors. That's what makes them money. That's what gives them prestige. If they've got 10, 15 catches a game, they're going to be on TV. They're going to be doing commercials. They're going to be on the cover of video games. NIL is going to be through the roof. They're going to get big contracts from the team that they're on. Same thing with the quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes is everywhere when you turn a TV on. Josh Allen's starting to get into that situation. You don't want to go to a team like what Pittsburgh had for the last decade where you're at the bottom of the league in receiving. Ask George Pickens. Look how happy George Pickens is. Dallas doesn't win. He doesn't care if he wins, but he gets a lot of catches, gets a lot of notoriety, making $20-some million or whatever it is on his franchise tag this year. I mean, he's thrilled as can be. It's not about winning necessarily. It's about making sure that you're able to put up the numbers. And if Pittsburgh's offense this year shows that it's going to be dedicated to prolific passing, receivers putting up, like if DK gets over 100 catches, let's say DK gets 1,500 yards and Pittman gets over 100 catches, because Pittman's going to be more of the possession guy that's going to get those catches, then receivers are going to be clamoring to come to Pittsburgh, especially if there's a possibility they get a legit quarterback in there next year. This is a huge year moving forward. I think McCarthy's ingrained for as long as the Clown wants to keep him there. The Clown's happy if they finish 500 or better, and I think you get better veteran talent in. That's what they want. They don't want to tear it down. We've talked for years about tearing it down, rebuilding, starting from scratch. They don't want to do that. Going out and getting Aaron Rodgers isn't necessarily a solution, but maybe if you get somebody in their late 20s, early 30s that's not happy where they are, now all of a sudden you might have a solution to the problem for at least a few years and a team that's going to start looking better moving forward.
Yeah, and it's about changing the philosophy of the organization, which doesn't happen in 1 year and certainly not in one training camp. And we understand the owner and the general manager are the same, but the head coach is the same. And he is an older guy with experience, which is not what they usually have brought in over the years. But he is offensive minded. This organization for too long with Tomlin focused on the wrong side of the ball, I think. And this defense, I mean, even if it was, it's one thing to focus on defense and win playoff games, but they were a defense-focused, throwing all their money at defense-first organization and not winning playoff games. And you see what the Browns are doing.
Getting blown out in those.
Yeah, you see what the Browns are doing, throwing money at Denzel Ward and all these defensive backs, and that's fine. But the Steelers, for too long, have put their money on the defensive end of the ball and, keeping around older guys, Watt, Hayward, Jalen Ramsey still around, and they're haggling with Joey Porter, as we see. But my point is, it's time to focus on the side of the ball that wins in the NFL now, and that's offense. And yes, Seattle just won a Super Bowl with a great defense, but they had great offensive pieces as well. Kenneth Walker, JSN, a very, very reliable quarterback in Super Bowl champion Sam Darnold, who the Steelers should have right now. But, it's time to focus the organizational philosophy and spend your money on the right side of the ball. And it's not going to happen in 1 year, Dave, but it's time to focus on offense. This league's about scoring more, faster. The days of winning games 13-6 are over. Sorry, Coach T. You're done in Pittsburgh, and so is your philosophy. Let's focus on offense with Big Mike.
Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about some of the changes that Mike McCarthy has made at camp. We'll also look at some of the developments that have taken place on the defensive side of the football. Joey Porter Jr., we thought there'd be a lot of, maybe disgruntledness, but he's on the physically unable to perform list, so maybe that's quelling that for a little while, but we know he wants paid. We saw Christian Gonzalez get paid last week by New England. There's still some issues to come with that. The running back situation, nobody's really talking about it, but I think the backup's better than the starter there, and I think that's going to, as the season progresses, come to light. And, of course, the offensive line and, the mess that they have there, I still think that's going to be their biggest problem on offense. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will continue to dissect your Pittsburgh Steelers now 3 days in to Training Camp 2026. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Fayette County Fair, incredible fun for everyone. Cows and pigs to rides and games, motocross and monster trucks to see.
Come join WMBS at the 2026 Fayette County Fair. WMBS will be live at the fair before the Clarks concert from 5 to 7 p.m. on Saturday, August 1st. Wednesday, August 5th is WMBS Day and Senior Citizens Day at the fair. Admission is free for those 62 or older until 2 p.m. WMBS will be on hand, broadcasting live starting at 10 a.m. with a prize wheel and giveaways throughout the day. Our coverage of the Fayette County Fair is being brought to you in part by the PA League of Women Voters, Nagy Gas and Oil, Mauser's Tire Center, First Federal Savings and Loan Association of Greene County, Sandy Howe Notary Services, and Zebley Law Offices. Hope to see you at the fair, and don't forget WMBS Day on Wednesday, August 5th.
Fayette County Fair, incredible fun for everyone.
Nagy Service Stations, Nagy Gas and Oil, Nagy Propane, and Beer Necessity, located on the mountain by Fort Necessity, extends their best wishes to the Fayette County Fair Board, 4-H clubs, and the numerous volunteers for another successful fair and 4-H auction. A locally owned family company, Nagy Gas and Oil, has been serving the area since 1942, and they invite you to check out any of their locations throughout the county. For more information, call Nagy Gas and Oil at 724-437-7241.
Armstrong Internet is built for homes like yours, by neighbors who know what matters most. Fast, reliable internet, backed by local experts who live here. That's 24/7 support with no contracts and no installation fees. No surprises. Just a reliable network to keep you connected to what you care about. Visit armstrongfiber.com and get connected as soon as same day. Choose a provider that's supported your community for decades. Choose Armstrong.
Is it time for your first home? Or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
It's never too late for good dental health. If you've been putting off seeing a dentist, Dr. Renee Stevens can help. She's accepting new patients at the Connellsville Medical and Dental Office. Dr. Stevens encourages patients to schedule a visit and start on the road to better dental health. Call 724-632-6801. That's 724-632-6801. We accept most insurances, and we provide care regardless of your ability to pay.
WMBS.
Welcome back to the Sports Boys. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about our experiences at Steeler training camp. Nick is still there in our WMBS tent, letting some of the air flow through so that people will believe that that's not the studio. Now they're saying they can see the window. I'm telling you, it is made to look identical to the studio that we sit in every week.
They're just
It's a
jealous,
test.
Dave. People are just jealous. They
There's
wish
so
we
much
were
hate.
here.
So much hate. I'm hearing there's no way that picture's real. Aaron Rodgers would never take a picture with me. Well, I mean, he didn't know who we were. I can
Right.
say that. It's not like he listened and heard how I criticized him every week. And, you can fake a smile every once in a while, I guess, because he is on my Mount Rushmore of the fakest athletes in the history of sports. But
Him and Phil Mickelson.
I mean, if you want to hate, you can hate. I know you can't see me there. I'm not there. You can say whatever about that. So you believe what you want to believe, but Nick and I are telling you we've been doing what we can do, enjoying Pittsburgh Steelers training camp just like all the other local hacks that have been up there since probably last week, camping out somewhere.
Well, that's why Aaron Rodgers likes us. He walked up to us the other day, remember, Dave? And he said, "Are you local hack media?" And we said, "No." And he said, "All right, I'll take the picture." Yeah.
He could he could tell just by looking at our setup compared to everybody else's.
I love it. It's been so much fun up here. It's a tradition unlike any other. Great to be here at
Oh,
Chuck No Field. And great
If
to
we'd
be
have had
here.
Steelers shirts on, he'd have probably thought we were fans.
Right. Well, I had my Terry Bradshaw jersey on because if Pittsburgh's anything, it's soaked in nostalgia.
I told you, I said, if that was an AI photo from 20 years ago, Nick wouldn't have even been born.
That's true.
So
Would have been
how
in
could that
utero.
even? Right? How could that even be possible?
Right. No, you
Well,
look good.
we've been thanks. We've tried to break down a lot of what's been happening, and one of the things that we did talk about was the change in the practice, and a couple of things caught my eye. Number one, the time difference, because there were times over the last, since 2007, you didn't even know if they were going to practice. It was so late, I think Tomlin was hoping everybody would leave, and then they could just kind of go through the motions without everybody watching. But 11:30 seems like it's set in stone. McCarthy's got them out there. And it's not like they're out there for a long time, but based on what he's doing, they don't really need to be. I love the fact that they used to have these two benches. Well, they had, I think, 4 benches in between fields 1 and 2. McCarthy had them all removed. Nobody sits. And that was kind of what he said. Everybody's got to do something. So if you're out there doing a drill, then you're out there doing a drill. If you're not doing a drill, the jugs machines are going. Like, there's stuff to do all over both practice fields at Latrobe. And he wants the guys active the entire time they're there. They get 2-minute hydration breaks, and then they're back out there doing something. Now, they could be just waiting to get onto the field, but they're not going to be sitting. And normally that's what you see. Half the team's just sitting around doing nothing. Usually Cam Hayward and TJ Watt are attached to the oxygen, just like they are on second and third down every single game of the regular season. But everybody's out doing something. McCarthy's committed to getting them in shape, to making sure that they're not coming out flat like they normally do at the beginning of the season. There's a lot happening that is very high-paced, fast-paced. They're doing a lot of drills that are simulating ends of halves, maybe 30 seconds. You're on the 35-yard line, go score. Find a way to score. And it's a lot of drills that are driven by the offense. It's not necessarily the defense sort of in the driver's seat for this. It's offensive-type drills to really get them acclimated to what they're going to need to do to win games. McCarthy realizes in today's NFL, the defense doesn't win you championships anymore. The offense does. I mean, you've got to have a good defense because you can't give up, what the Steelers give up usually in postseason games. But you've got to have a clutch offense that can come in and score when needed, and they haven't had that for a very long time. Now he's starting to instill the characteristics that you need to be able to win that way. I love what I've seen and heard the first couple of days from this McCarthy practice. And I'm not saying that that's going to make the Steelers the AFC North champion or get them into the playoffs, but it's what needs to happen to get them on pace with the rest of the NFL on the offensive side of the football. Nick, you've been out and about walking around. What have you seen? Does it look better, different? Are you excited, or are you disappointed that Coach T's not there sitting around on a bench with somebody telling him a story?
Well, story time was fun. And, I gave Coach T a lot of, credit early on. I thought he was a good coach when he got here, and I defended him more than most people, certainly in this building, the old studio, not where I am today in Latrobe, but the Davis & Davis studios back in Fayette County. But, no, I think it was time to move on, get with an offensive-minded guy. I thought they would go younger in defense, maybe a Chris Shula, maybe one of those names. But, no, they went older, but they went offensive-minded. They went with Big Mike from Greenfield, and certainly reuniting with Aaron Rodgers is going to be fun. A lot of people want them to replicate that Super Bowl magic, but that was 15 years ago. They're both 15 years older. Certainly Rodgers is, and he's the one out there running around and throwing the ball around. But he looks good. He looks to be in good spirits, and he looks engaged, which certainly he says it's the last rodeo, but maybe he'll fall in love with his teammates again here in year two in Pittsburgh, and maybe with these rookies. And, again, he said nice things about Roman Wilson. Maybe he'll fall in love with Jeremy Bernard, Michael Pittman, and DK in the second year with those two. So maybe he's back next year, but the Steelers, as we know, always focus on the next game in this upcoming season. And I think, again, moving to the offensive side of the ball, the offense will look different. It'll look better. It'll be more spread out. They have more weapons. Yes, the offensive line's an issue, but they had a number one receiver in Pittman. They had Dowdle to spell Jalen Warren in the backfield. So I'm encouraged with the offense and defensively as well. Patrick Graham, the DC coming over from the Raiders. Don't know much about him, but they're going to keep the 3-4, I understand. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, just being here. Will Howard threw a great ball to Robert Tonyan today. Drew Aller looked good yesterday, and can't wait, Dave. 2 weeks from today, we'll be watching the Howard Aller show, and with a little Mason Rudolph sprinkled in.
Well, I figured over the next few weeks we would break down different positions. We did quarterback and we did wide receiver. We'll save the tight end, running back, and offensive line for either next week or the week after. I want to get all this in by their first game in a couple of weeks. But I figured we have a few minutes left here before we go. One of the places on defense, because we have to break down a defensive spot, defensive line is supposed to be the strength for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
And you are correct. They are sticking with the 3-4. Traditionally, last year we saw Keanu Benton playing nose tackle. Apparently, that's not going to be the case. He's going to be up for a contract extension and a huge payday. It's going to come his way, and I think after what we saw from him last year, it's well-deserved. But they're talking about moving him out to a traditional defensive end spot. The guy they're talking about a defensive tackle or nose tackle is Y.A. Black, who really was a surprise last year. A lower drafted guy, came kind of out of nowhere because of injuries. They love him in the middle. They're going to put Hayward at the other defensive end spot, at least for now. But one of the big takeaways that I had, seems like because of the injuries, they've really soured on Harmon, their first-round pick last year. They said he can't stay healthy, and there's a good chance he might not be in that starting lineup. It might be Y.A. Black next year. I mean, it's a good problem to have. They've got more depth on the defensive line than anywhere else, but that is supposed to be the strength of their defense. They've got to be able to stop the run. Hopefully they're used to do that, especially when they play teams like Baltimore and Cincinnati, the teams they have to beat within their own division.
Yeah, and absolutely, and playing really good quarterbacks in that division, especially Lamar Jackson, if he stays healthy, who loves to run around. Joe Burrow, who's more of a traditional pocket guy, and whatever the Browns are throwing out there, I guess Coach Prime's son, at least early on. So, yeah, I mean, the defensive line is the strength, but, yeah, you're always going to be hit with changes and complications and injuries, and, yeah, Y.A. Black, I think, is encouraging, and, yeah, certainly. The defense, I think, as I mentioned, I mean, the defense is still important. Don't get me wrong. I was talking about how we need to move on and focus more on offense, and they do need to do that from a philosophical standpoint organizationally. But don't get me wrong, defense lets them down. I mean, in these playoff games, it was brutal last year against Houston, the Buffalo game a few years ago. I mean, they're just getting embarrassed out there. So, yeah, it was the Tomlin offense. It was certainly the Tomlin defense. And Terrell Austin was just for show there. So now with Coach Graham, we'll see. We know who's running the offense, and we'll see if Graham can mold this defense into something that's not going to get you embarrassed if you do make a playoff game.
Well, we'll continue this over the weeks to come. We'll break down some more positions, both offense and defense, for your Pittsburgh Steelers, just to kind of let you know what the buzz is at camp and what the expectations are moving into this year. Regardless, it's still July, but it's officially football season. That got kicked off on Tuesday with the start of camp, and that's going to be the primary focus in this area, at least until, January, when they are eliminated from the postseason. But in the end, it's Pittsburgh Steelers all the time. That's what you see when you turn on the news, and obviously we have to jump on board with that as well. No one wants to talk to me. They're telling me my microphone's not actually hooked up to anything. I'm done with it. So I'm done trying to get any interviews with any Steelers. None are showing up. Apparently they're still up there with you.
Leave it to me, Dave. You relax. You sit back and relax at St. Vincent.
Okay. I just don't want another Fernando Mendoza to come back and get me. But we'll leave it to you and see what you can produce for the Sports Voice here in the second hour. A lot coming up in the second hour. We're going to talk Pirates. They're in action tonight. They start a 4-game series in Cincinnati against the Reds. Yohan Ramirez getting the start. We'll talk a little bit about that and sort of where the Pirates are moving into the trade deadline on Monday. We've got more news from the National Football League, a lot of injuries that have been taking place over the last couple of days. Nick's got his NBA and WNBA roundup. Apparently you're allowed to bet in the WNBA, so I'll let Nick explain that to you because that was a big story this week as well. And, of course, anything else major that comes across. Don't go anywhere. Hour 2 of the Sports Voice is coming up next.
This is Eric Cushy from Curtis Pharmacy with big news. We are now accepting all Medicare Part D plans, including UPMC and Highmark. Service and care you need from a local provider you trust, including vaccines, compounding, delivery, and our Pack My Meds program. 90-day supplies are available too. Visit us in Claysville, Washington, Carmichaels, and our new location on Arch Street in Connellsville, or visit us on the web at curtispharmacy.com.
Your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS Uniontown, live from training camp in the Fayette County Fair. It's 5 o'clock.
President Trump calls him a star, Lisa Brady, Fox News. But the president may still withdraw the nomination of acting Attorney General Todd Blanche temporarily, suggesting in a post today he could leave him in the acting role until after two holdout Republican senators leave office in January. One of them, Senator Thom Tillis, telling reporters,
and this is not about Blanche. Blanche is negotiating in good faith. We have somebody else in the way, and I don't believe it's the president, and hopefully we can resolve it.
They're looking for assurances that an IRS settlement granting immunity to the president and family members for past tax audits will not apply to future years. The other senator, John Cornyn of Texas, says they're not the only two with concerns. The White House says there are signs the president's policies are working after slower growth for the U.S. economy in the second quarter at 1.5%.
Slower GDP growth is attributed to an increase in imports, though U.S. consumer spending remained high, up to nearly 4% for the year. A White House spokesman attributes the import increase to a record number of capital goods shipped into the country, machinery and equipment, he says, that will fuel future growth.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Days after his 16-year-old son was sent to prison for life for a deadly shooting at his high school, a Georgia father is sentenced to 15 years in prison for giving him the gun.
This is not a happy day. This is a relief day, I would say.
Barrow County District Attorney Brad Smith and the judge focusing on the ongoing trauma for survivors and loved ones of the 2 students and 2 teachers who were killed.
We just hope that we've done honor to them. We've done honor to their loved ones in the work that we put forward, and that's all we could do.
Smith says Colin Gray failed to address his son's mental health issues. The defense argued the boy hid the depth of his involvement in an online community obsessed with mass shooters. America is listening to Fox News.
Pento Home Care Agency cares about you, your health, and what's best for your family. Pento Home Care is a family-owned and operated home care agency providing the convenience of personal care within your home. They'll work with your family and physicians to come up with the best plan of care for you. Pento offers personal assistance services and accepts all state waiver programs, private insurance, and private pay patients. Pento Home Care Agency has home health care available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and their experienced team of professionals provide expert care. Pento offers hospice care because they know how difficult and overwhelming a terminal illness can be by helping families through the challenging days with dignity and compassion. If you or a loved one need care or are looking for a career as a home health aide, please call them at 724-322-1683 or visit them online at pentohomecareagency.com.
A federal fraud crackdown continues to expand, with U.S. attorneys in the Southeast announcing new cases.
First Assistant Attorney General for the National Fraud Enforcement Division, Colin McDonald, said since the 4th of July, U.S. attorneys across the Southeast have charged 12 people with defrauding taxpayers of $90 million, including 4 people charged with getting food stamp recipients to sell their benefits for cash.
The scheme caused nearly $20 million in fraudulent EBT transactions at a quick stop convenience store in Miami. 2 of the co-conspirators are foreign nationals, and 1 even has a pending final order of removal.
He said their division has signed data sharing agreements with 10 states to streamline fraud detection and investigations. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
A 3rd Democrat drops out of the race for governor in Wisconsin less than 2 weeks before the August 11th primary. Former Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes posting it's become very clear who our nominee is going to be. An apparent reference to a new Marquette Law School poll that shows a widening lead for Democratic Socialist candidate Francesca Hong. About a third remain undecided, though. Elon Musk is putting more money into Republican politics by launching his super PAC again.
The same political organization he formed with more than $250 million used on behalf of President Trump's 2024 campaign will now work to elect or re-elect Republicans in the upcoming midterm elections. It's called America PAC, and it tells Fox News it will focus its funds and its efforts on ground game politics such as door knocking and digital advertising aimed at getting voters to polls in a non-presidential year. The PAC won't reveal how much money it plans to spend. Republicans are aiming to retain their control of Congress. Eben Brown, Fox News.
The Dow bouncing back over 52K, up 613 points. The NASDAQ up 679, back over 25K. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
Good evening. I'm Nick Barczyk. It is a Thursday, sunny and 81 at 5:05 from the Davis & Davis studios at WMBS and St. Vincent and Latrobe and the Fayette County Fair. We're everywhere this evening. Good evening. More on the Weather Watch and sports in just a bit. Today is the opening day of the Fayette County Fair at the Fairgrounds in Dunbar. The hours are 6 to 10:30 this evening. The gates and carnival rides open next hour at 6. The highlights this evening include the opening ceremony at 6:30, followed by the Fireman's Parade and the truck and tractor pulls and the 4-H dog show at 7. The Fair Queen contest gets underway at 7:30. The band Lost Years performs from 8:30 to 10. For more information, go online to FayetteFair.com The fair runs through August 8th. WMBS Day is on Wednesday, August 5th. The Kentucky Campground in Ohio State Park here in Fayette County is among the best places to camp in America. A new report reveals this week. The Dirt, a campground review site, released its annual list showing the top places to explore the great outdoors. The campground, which sits next to the Youghiogheny River, features about 200 campsites and is open from April to mid-December every year. It also features 27 walk-to sites that require a brief hike from your vehicle to the campsite. The Agriculture Department this week said President Trump has selected Chris Hoffman, the former president of the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, to be the new USDA Rural Development State Director for Pennsylvania. The agency said Hoffman's role will boost job creation, economic development, housing opportunities, and infrastructure. Agriculture is often touted as Pennsylvania's leading economic driver, generating $133 billion annually and nearly 600,000 jobs. Cyclopsoriasis, the parasitic infection linked to a nasty intestinal illness, has now spread to almost all the states, at least 45 of them now.
There have been 6,700 lab-confirmed cases so far, with the CDC saying it's investigating more than 11,000 others. It also says at least 423 people have been hospitalized, but there have been no deaths. The outbreak, which is caused by ingesting food or water that contains Cyclospora bacteria, began 3 months ago. The Federal Health Agency says the only states that haven't reported any cases are Maine, South Carolina, Montana, New Mexico, and Hawaii. I'm Mark Mayfield.
The State System of Higher Education's Board of Governors this week named James Fisher interim president of Pennsylvania Western University. Fisher's appointment comes less than a week after he left Penn West to become the interim vice chancellor and chief academic officer of the state system. The current president, John Anderson, announced a few weeks ago he's becoming president of Utah Valley University. He is leaving Penn West. Anderson is next month. Sports and weather next on WMBS.
So what's the difference between the sheds I see in the parking lot of the big box stores and a professionally built and installed JDM Structures shed from Ultimate Structures? Good question. First, the manufacturer, JDM Structures, is one of the premier shed builders in business for 34 years. They use composite materials for the exterior with baked-on paint. This ensures you'll have an extended lifespan for your shed. And listen to this. 75% of Ultimate Structures orders are personally designed to satisfy the customer's needs. That's right. And the turnaround time for a custom designed shed is no longer than just buying a stock shed. Compare the roof designs, the superior piano door hinges, the quality of the wall panels, and personal customer service. You'll see. Come to the Mega Lot on Route 51 South, just outside Perryopolis. You need a shed? We can help. We design what you desire. Ultimate Structures.
In sports, we have Bucco baseball tonight, game one of a 4-game series in the National League Central. Pirates taking on the Reds in Cincinnati. Righty Johan Ramirez on the mound for the Bucks, who were 55 and 54, have lost their last 2 games. That's this evening. On the air with that at 6:45, and the game starting just after 7 on WMBS. And it was the second day of practice at training camp for the Steelers in Latrobe at St. Vincent. Their first preseason game 2 weeks from today, August 13th, against Green Bay.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
This weather report being brought to you by Montgomery Medical. Trust their 50 years of combined experience for the best results in primary care, newborns to elderly, minor illness or injury, as well as wellness and physical exams. And now the weather.
Sun has been out throughout the day in the region. Right now at 81. That was the high this afternoon. Low tonight 57, up to 84 with sun for Friday. The low tomorrow night 64. Overcast day Saturday, but should be dry at 85. Then showers and storms likely to wrap up the weekend. Sunday dropping down to a high of 77. Then to begin the work week, Monday, showers likely at 80. Chance of showers Tuesday at 83. Overnight low 64. And then thunderstorms look back on Wednesday and Thursday. Look to come back midweek next week, going up to 85 Wednesday and 87 for a week from today. Right now on this penultimate day of July, a Thursday, it's sunny and 81 at 5:11. And a very good evening from the Davis & Davis studios at WMBS with Bureaus live at the Fayette County Fair and Training Camp in Latrobe. I'm Nick Barczyk. And we will bring you the Stud Report next from Jenny Montgomery Scott, then the second hour of the Sports Voice with Dave Dunaway on your local station, WMBS. Good evening.
This weather report was brought to you by Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine. Same-day appointments available for acute care. Call 724-569-8100 or visit montymed.com to schedule your appointment.
Good evening. This is Melody Cole of Jenny Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 613 points, closing at 52,208. The NASDAQ Composite was up 679 points, closing at 25,122. And the S&P 500 was up 120 points, closing at 7,436. Among companies of local interest, Apple closed at $333.43, down $4.76. Amazon, $235.50, up $8.85. Cisco, $113.56, up $1.08. Boeing, $220.90, up $6.89. Caterpillar, $808.91, up $26.20. Disney, $96.13, down $2.35. ExxonMobil, $157.07, up 32 cents. First Energy, $48.71, down 42 cents. Johnson & Johnson, $255.88, down $9.65. Home Depot, $333.33, down $4.94. Intel, $91.13, up $9.25. McDonald's, $268.46, down $3.06. Meta Platforms, $539.03, down $46.58. PNC Financial Services, $248.73, up 24 cents. Raytheon Technologies, $214.37, down 88 cents. Rockwell Automation, $470.61, up $11.22. Tesla, $308.85, up $10.53. Verizon, $46.12, down $1.10. Walmart, $111.10, down $3.12. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 613 points, closing at 52,208. The NASDAQ Composite was up 679 points, closing at 25,122, and the S&P 500 was up 120 points, closing at 7,436. From the Uniontown office of Jenny Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, New York Stock Exchange, and SIPC, where we serve all your investment needs, this is Melody Cole.
It's the perfect time to upgrade your outdoor area with a new fence from All Around Fence Company, conveniently located on Route 40 in Uniontown. All Around Fence has been installing quality residential, commercial, and farm fencing for more than 46 years. Offering residential fencing including chain link, decorative aluminum, steel, and more, All Around Fence has the fence for you. All Around Fence is also your one-stop shop for Neutrina products and carries Weaver equine and livestock supplies and Preferred farm equipment. So, if you need to upgrade an existing fence, add a new gate, or are considering the installation of new farm fencing, visit All Around Fence, open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 to 1, or give them a call at 724-439-0331. To learn more, visit allaroundfence.com.
In a world of big corporations and interpersonal experiences, there's something truly special about family-owned businesses. For over 70 years, the Mike Kelly Automotive family has been serving the community with integrity, honesty, and a commitment to putting families first. And we're not stopping anytime soon. Our commitment to excellent sales and service remains stronger than ever. Visit us today and experience the Mike Kelly Automotive difference. Because when you buy from us, you buy from family.
Is it time for your first home or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals, locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Your local station, 590 WMBS. I hear voices in my head.
Welcome to part 2 of the Sports Boys. Ahead on this hour, your Pittsburgh Pirates. They are starting a very important series, made even more important by the fact that you know they won't make a trade until the deadline. So you've got 4 games against a division opponent who's gotten better over the last couple of weeks. They are in last place, where you're probably not going to make a move to better your team outside of potentially who you might call up from the minors. They made a bunch of those moves yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about who's here and who's gone, because it sometimes is hard to keep track with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Tonight, it took a while to announce a starter. They determined this morning it's going to be Yohan Ramirez. I've not seen any reports about Carmen Majinski being put on the restricted list today, but I can't imagine he's happy. Although looking at the numbers, they're very similar to each other. Ramirez actually has more appearances, but remember, Majinski started the year as a starting pitcher in the rotation. Christian Curtis, I think, also could have been in the mix for this opportunity, but Ramirez, I don't remember starting a game in a Pirate uniform. I know he was a starter prior to, but this is a head-scratcher, one among many over the last couple of weeks. We talked about pitchers getting pulled, pitching shutouts with less than 85 pitches. There have been some real question marks with manager John Kelly over the last few weeks. And the Pirates have not exactly excelled during that period of time. They were trying to get into this driver's seat for the wild card. Now they're a couple of games back from this wild card spot. And you start looking at the teams within their division, the Cubs, the Cardinals, and these are teams that they're fighting with. And Cincinnati, they've fought their way back to only 7 games under 500. The Pirates are 1 game over. It's not that big of a difference based on these 4 games that you're going to see. By the way, in Cincinnati, where the ball leaves the yard at record pace, Pirate pitchers better be careful because they've been serving up quite a few over the last couple of weeks. So a lot to talk about with the Pirates, just with Major League Baseball in general as we get close to the trade deadline. Still a lot of question marks as to who are buyers and who are sellers. And, Tariq Skubbal's name keeps coming up. People believe he may have pitched his last game in Detroit last night. They blow a huge lead for him, and he ends up getting a no decision in that. Shohei Ohtani might be back to the mound, might not be back to the mound. A lot of question marks around Major League Baseball. The Dodgers, I think, are going to be a major player at this deadline as well. If there's a big name to be had, I have a feeling they're going to get him, especially if they're a pitcher. They could be the team that gets Skubal with all of the injuries that they have and all of the depth in their farm system that comes along with that. The Yankees also have talked about wanting to add at the deadline. The funniest, I think, is the Minnesota Twins, who, by the way, got a win today. They may or may not be over 500. I'm not sure. But they have said they're going to add, with Derek Shelton as the manager. This could be an absolute epic collapse going down the stretch as they decide to be buyers and not sellers. The Cubs, are going to buy. So there are teams out there for everyone eagerly anticipating who the Pirates might acquire. There are teams with deeper pockets and deeper farm systems that are going to be going after the same exact people the Pirates are going to be going after. We know they need a bat. We know they need some bullpen arms. We'll see how this all works itself out come Monday. But I have a feeling the 4 games coming up, they're not going to do anything. They like to wait until the day, down to the wire, to do whatever insignificant move it is they're going to do. So we will see how this weekend goes for your Buccos. I see it kind of 2-2, maybe 1-3, based on how tonight goes. Tonight is a maybe. So this could be a win, could be a loss for the Pirates. I think Saturday, the Ashcraft-Abbott matchup is a win. Skeens, it's hard to say it won't be a win, but Hunter Green pitches like Cy Young against them, and there's no way Mitch Keller's going to beat Chase Burns on Sunday. So that's kind of what you're looking at in this series ahead. Don't sleep on the Reds, even though they're last place. Terry Francona, younger players starting to get infused into this lineup, and they're going to be sellers at the deadline. So I think you're going to see like a Hector Rodriguez get called up, maybe another young pitcher get called up. They're a team positioning for the future. The Pirates are trying to position for right now. We'll see how that works out. We've got more news from around the National Football League. Remember, everyone, it's football season. We talked a lot about our being on location at St. Vincent's in the first hour. Nick out and about trying to get interviews, but I think a lot of the players have left. They're not at Dave & Buster's, I can tell you that. So apparently they're somewhere up in the Latrobe area, maybe Czech Sharkies or Dino's or something like that. Or maybe they're wreaking havoc in the neighborhoods like they used to in the Mike Tomlin days. DK Metcalf was telling a story about going to Walmart yesterday and running into a bunch of the locals there and having fun discussing the Steelers. So they might be around. Normally they're not. They might actually be around. Or it might be movie night. Not sure what movie they're going to be watching, The Notebook. I don't know what used to be on the docket when Mike Tomlin did it. Maybe they'll watch. Honestly, I watched the second installment of the Mortal Kombat movie yesterday. A fantastic movie. If you like action, phenomenal. Maybe they'll be watching that. It'll teach some new moves to the offensive line, try to figure out how to keep the defense away from Aaron Rodgers. And of course, Nick's got his NBA and WNBA roundup. We'll see what's happening there. The NBA, I believe, is still in the off season, and the WNBA might still be in the regular season or playoffs or off season. Who knows? Nick will tell us all of that whenever we get to that toward the end of the show. We've got some Tony Romo news that came out today, some Cal Shanahan news that came out today. At least now there's more happening on the field. We don't have to worry about who gets into accidents or arrested off the field. But those are still stories. And, of course, our huge story from the world of card collecting. This week is the big national convention for people who collect cards. Remember, I used to own a business where we sold this stuff. A one-of-one Shohei Ohtani Logo Man card pulled out of a Topps product. 2 autos, 2 patches from his back-to-back MVP years was sold today for over $10 million. Yeah, it's a baseball card, everybody. Over $10 million. So we'll talk a little bit about that since I do have some knowledge on that piece of information as well. But it is the second hour, and we've not talked baseball, and we need to do that. So we'll start off talking about your Pittsburgh Pirates. I know a lot of people are starting to get bored with them, especially after the last 2 that were losses to Arizona. A lot of hype for that series. This was the team they were in direct competition for right now for that final wild card spot. Arizona gets a couple of wins, actually moves into the second wild card spot right now. The Pirates are a couple of games out, and people are starting to see the writing on the wall because you're just so used to it after all these years. Now it's time for the tailspin. But they do have last place Cincinnati over the weekend. Actually, it starts tonight. They're in Cincinnati, so for all of the Pirates that have been struggling with power and actually just making contact lately, this could be a huge cure for that. Balls leave the yard in Cincinnati at record pace. but of course they do that for the Cincinnati Reds as well. I talked a little bit at the top about some of the head-scratching moves by Donnie Kelly over the last couple of weeks. This one might be top of the list right now. The Pirates had not named a starter for tonight prior to this morning, and then of all of the options, Majinski, who had been a starter earlier this year, Christian Curtis, who came up a couple of weeks ago through 5 shutout innings, he goes with middle reliever Yohan Ramirez, and a lot of people are really baffled as to what this is. Is he an opener? Is that what we're going to see? Because honestly, if you're going to do that, you might be better served with a hard thrower like Montgomery. But I looked at the numbers, I looked at the stats between Ramirez and Majinski, because I think those were the two names probably that most people were talking about. The ERA very similar, 3.21 for Ramirez, 3.25 for Majinski. I mean, it could, I guess, go either way. It could be either one. I'm just surprised. I think this series is a little more important than the Pirates and Donnie Kelly do. But if this is something you're gearing up for, you've got Rhett Lauder, who's really struggled this year. He's been injured, and he's trying to pitch through it. If I'm the Pittsburgh Pirates, I'm not putting a middle reliever in. I'm putting someone that's a little more polished and seasoned. To me, this is a head-scratcher. Nick, is there a way for them to pull out a win making this decision at starting pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, this team is interesting. It seems they take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. If you take 2 out of 3 against Arizona, I would have been really excited. You lose the second game, you come back down 6-0 in the 8th. So they are resilient, but tenuous would be another word I would use, tedious for this team. But they're right where they should be. They're an average ball club. They're 55 and 54, and specifically the pitching situation this evening. I think it's an interesting one going with the bullpen game. Yes, it's a very important series. You're playing a bad team. Yes, you're on the road, but it's a team in your division, a team that's 50 and 56. They're out of it. And they have really good pitchers they're facing this week, not this evening against Rhett Lauder, but Hunter Green Friday night, Chase Burns on Sunday going for his 13th win, and a lefty. They struggle really mightily against lefties. Look at Imanaga, what he did to them Saturday. Look at Eduardo Rodriguez, looked like Sandy Koufax yesterday, 8 shutout innings, so you're going to struggle against Abbott. But yeah, going with the bullpen game this evening, it's a 4-game series. I guess they're saying, if we split, that's good enough. But I'd say take 3 out of 4. It's going to be really hard to sweep, but it's a series you really need to win, because then you have Milwaukee next week and the Mets next week, who are bad, but, they're from New York and they'll send a lot of fans down. So, yeah, you're going to lose that Milwaukee series on the road, so you better win this one. So, yeah, questionable decision, but the Pirates overall are what they are, Dave. They're about where I thought they'd be at 55 and 54. The pitching's been underwhelming. The offense has been better than we thought. And Skeens has had by far his weakest year. If he was dominant like he's been the last few years with this offense, they'd be in a lot better shape. And I don't think enough people are saying that out loud.
Realistically, what do you think Yohan Ramirez gets? Does he get an inning? I mean, my thought in all of this is, in the roster moves made yesterday, one of the call-ups for the Pirates was Hunter Barco, and they've been trying to shove him down everybody's throat all year, justifying him as a top-notch potential ace pitcher coming from their system. He struggled at Indianapolis. He struggled in Pittsburgh, but he's back. So my thought is this going to be similar to what they did with Montgomery and Curtis? You put Ramirez in for an inning and then see if you can get 5 out of Barco. I mean, honestly, if there's a way to lose this game against a struggling Rhett Lauder, it's probably by giving Hunter Barco an opportunity to log numerous innings. I mean, that's my guess. They sent Matson down. They sent Eisert down. Not saying that that's not justified. Both pitched poorly in their last game. They also called Noah Murdoch up, but I don't anticipate Murdoch getting any legit innings. I think Barco is the guy. I don't see anyone else there. Majinski just pitched yesterday or the day before, so I don't see him as part of this mix. I think that, it could be a bullpen game, or it could be this is how we're going to throw Barco out there one more time to try to justify why we think he's so good.
Yeah, it's questionable, some of their decisions. The pitching overall has been bad. I mean, we broke the news about Marinaccio last week, and boy, he's been great. No, he's been fine. But the bullpen's just been leaking runs, and Again, overall with this team, resilient, coming back, down big, but that's a series you should win, Dave. Arizona, also an average team. They have talent, but it's not overwhelming. But you lose 2 out of 3. Now you're playing the Reds. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of these arms they throw out there are just, and some of the roster moves they make are interesting. They're bringing up average players, sending down average guys. So it's a lot of meh in there. But, yeah, we'll see what Ramirez does this evening. Maybe gets an inning, then turns it over to the rest of the pen. But, yeah, it's a series you should win. Maybe you should get some runs here. Hit some home runs. That park's a bandbox in Cincy. So, and you said off the air, if Triolo gets one out, then anyone can hit a home run. A great American.
If he hits a home run, literally anybody can hit a home run there. I'm looking at Barco's numbers now because I think I've just managed to intrigue myself.
Ooh.
In his 5 appearances this year, 11 2/3 innings, he's got an ERA of 7.71. And the sad part is that's not even close to being the worst ERA on this team.
No,
So,
it's bad, but it's not the
guys are
worst.
gone.
No, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly's in the minors, Sanders is gone, Urquidy's gone, Davinsky's hurt, Eisert's in the minors now, Hunter Stratton, I don't know where it was. By the way, the Pirates did actually release Dennis Santana yesterday, so good news. We talked about him being DFA'd on Thursday. Yeah, Marinaccio, he's really lighting it up. His ERA is at 5.40 with his 3 appearances for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, yeah, I mean, nothing that they've really tried to tell. Lost that game in extra innings, but didn't really look great in that appearance. They've tried a lot from the organization, and nothing really has worked. I mean, their best pitcher all year has been Tyler Callahan, and they sent him down yesterday. So if they need to get a legit inning in this bullpen game, they don't even have Callahan. He got demoted yesterday for the password, Distinction Garcia, who came up and went 0 for 3. Poor Callahan's trying to play every position. They got to get him in there at catcher at some point. And speaking of catcher, how about Sean Ross comes up and hits a home run and then gets DFA'd the next day
Right.
because, Henry Davis has to have a spot. It just, the roster moves, the pitching decisions, some of the in-game decisions, it all comes back to management, ownership, coaching. Like, I start looking at, you're going to get to a point where if the Pirates miss the postseason, it's not going to be by much. And you're going to start looking at individual games that were blown by either a roster move that was made or a pitching change that was made or, some other, these challenges that they don't win that make no sense. It's going to come down to something off the field that people are going to look at yet again and say this is why they just missed and aren't in a better position right now.
Oh, absolutely. And baseball's such a long, monotonous season, as much as we both love the game, but there are so many decisions on a daily inning, pitch-by-pitch basis you can second-guess. But overall, Donnie Kelly, I think, was the direction they had to go, much like the Steelers. They needed a change. He's better than the previous regime. I'm sure you would agree with that. But a lot of the moves are questionable, and the personnel is just maybe not as good as we thought it was in certain aspects. The offense overall has been better, and some of the offseason acquisitions have really panned out. Not all of them. I'm looking at you, Mr. Ozuna, but O'Hearn, Lau, Mangum has been fun to watch. My dad loves to see Mangum run around the bases. Reminds him of an old-timer from back in the day who would speed around the bases, the old-timer players. But, yeah, I mean, there have been some bright spots, but, again, they are who we thought they were, to quote Dennis Green. 55 and 54 is about what I thought. 2-3 games out of a playoff spot. Again, you win that series with Arizona, you have excitement, and this was the week to do it. With the Steelers training camp starting, you win that series with Arizona, people are excited for the rest of the year. You lose it and say you struggle this weekend, then you're starting to lose fan interest. And attendance was not great this week for that big series, and now you're slipping out of it. The Cubs and the Phillies have a stranglehold, I would think, on those top 2 wild card spots, and there's a logjam there for the third. One of the Bucks may be on the outside looking in because of some of the moves they've made that have not been up to par as you've laid them out.
Hey, those 3,000 people yesterday afternoon literally booed Marcelo Ozuna out of PNC Park.
I
So,
loved it. I heard it. I loved
good for
it.
them. They showed
awful.
up and they showed up and they were vocal, and he's been awful all year. And I think, when you look at the offense, and it has been good, but lately it's been rough.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is attributed to the Griffin injury. I said that at the beginning of the year when we were talking about making predictions for how many games this team could win. one of the first things I said was I have two. I have one for if Griffin's on the roster and one for if he's not. I really do believe that he makes that much of a difference because when he doesn't play, Triolo's the everyday shortstop. Or I read this article about what a great job Jacob Gonzalez has done. Jacob Gonzalez is hitting 226 and really looked bad on first base.
Yeah.
And you know he's not going to play anything besides a backup at short with Griffin or at second with Lau, who apparently the Pirates are negotiating with. We'll see if they actually legit are for an extension of that contract. Reynolds has been up and down, but he's still hitting 270, and he hit the home run to tie the game the other night after Lau hit the 2-run homer.
Nicky G's been good.
Still show Nicky G is the third leading hitter in the National League. He's got these 30 hits as well.
That's amazing.
So, worst defensive third baseman I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But he hits. So that'll keep him in the lineup.
And Dave,
he really should be the DH.
He should, but we also have to say, how much do they miss O'Neal Cruz? And I'm not joking. He's a bat they could use.
Yeah, but I think that they saved themselves. I think what's really saved them with the bat with Cruz has been Esmeralyn Valdez.
Right.
And dodged a bullet with him, thought that, you know, the way he was wincing in pain, he might be out for a while. It turned out it was a contusion, and he played the next day. It didn't even look like it hit his hand. You had to really watch the replay closely to see it kind of ricochet onto it. I think it was just a spot that it hit in, but I think that has helped a lot with O'Neal Cruz, because Cruz is a huge liability. I would much rather see Jake Mangum, who's a light hitter. He reminds me, you were talking about him like he's an old-timer. I made the reference the other day. He reminds me a lot of Lenny Dykstra.
Yes.
Sometimes the Pirates remind me of that 86 Mets team. He reminds me a lot of Lenny Dykstra, just that grit. And that, like, I would take him every day of the week over the debacle that is O'Neal Cruz trying to play center field. And, you know, Valdez has had the power. You've got Reynolds out there. I just, to me, and I said it before the year started, O'Neal Cruz is a liability who doesn't belong on this team. You can't be 27 and still trying to learn how to play a sport that you've been in the majors for the last 5 years trying to play. They've talked about them trading him at the deadline. I doubt that's going to happen with the broken hand, but I would not look at him in my future plans if I was anything involved in ownership or management with the Pittsburgh Pirates. They might miss the potential of the bat, but as we've found out through the years, the potential and the reality are two different things. Spencer Horwitz is very close to coming back. I don't know if he's back today. I didn't look, but I know he should be back this weekend. So now you put him back over at first base. You can throw O'Hearn out into the outfield to alleviate, you know, some of the issue that's caused by the fact that Marcell Ozuna can't play anywhere. I think they're still okay with offense, but, you know, we talked about them hitting in spurts. Triolo can't be out there every day. They've got to find that answer at shortstop. And if Griffin's not going to be back until September, maybe you find that answer at the deadline. I still say you find it at third. Nick Gonzalez, people are making fun of him for being terrible third baseman. I just did it. He's not a third baseman. He's a second baseman.
And he's hitting so well, you have to keep him in the lineup.
He's hitting.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe try him at short. I mean, I don't know, but you've got to find an answer over on that side of the field, and that's got to happen through the trade deadline. They could probably use a starter. They're talking about Danglin Keller out there, and we'll see what happens with that. I mean, Chandler's just been atrocious. Outside of that start against the Yankees, where they yanked him in 84 pitches or whatever with a shutout, he's looked bad all year. I don't see how they can keep parading him out there every 5 days. And the bullpen, you just need solid veteran arms that are going to go out there and throw strikes and get people out, because this has been an absolute disaster. And we talked about the starting pitching being down, but I think if some of the games that they left with the lead could have been preserved by the bullpen, at least the records would look a lot better for these guys than what they are right now. And, you know, in the end, it looks disappointing. But the Pirates are still one game over 500. You know, Endy's back.
Yeah.
We'll see how often he plays, because, you know, Davis, he's the personal catcher for a couple of those guys. But the hitting has been lackluster, at least the average.
Yeah.
So Endy at least is a more solid hitter back there. That's better than, you know, Flores or whoever else you're going to put in. They'll be okay, but a lot of it is going to rely on what they do here on Monday. And I think they need to do more than they think they do if they're wanting to solidify a playoff spot.
Yeah, and Jones looked decent yesterday, and the offense maybe has hit a wall, but overall has been better. But yeah, you're right. The trading deadline is giant, and this organization, the old line, if someone or something shows you who they are, believe them. And the Pirates have shown us who they are. And with each regime, they can bring new managers in and even new general managers in, but the owner stays the same. And are they willing to make that big, bold move and go get someone? Mason Miller's not going to happen, I don't think, but maybe get something, get another arm, maybe get another bat. And who are you willing to part with in that system? Do you part with the guys who are in the futures game, Hernandez and Florentino? Do you part with someone else? I mean, at what point do you say, let's go for it this year? There may not be a season next year. Skeens may be gone sooner rather than later. Do you go all in this year? It's just to make a playoff spot. You're not going to catch Milwaukee. You're not going to win a World Series, Dave. But at what point do you say, hey, let's try to make the playoffs? Because 13, 14, and 15, as Andrew McCutcheon will tell you, as he keeps getting DFA'd, was a long time ago.
Yeah, we're 11 years away from that last playoff play-in game where, they really didn't have a chance from the start.
And when do they just say, let's go for it? Not even to win the division. Heck, not to win a World Series or a pennant. Let's just try to get back to the postseason, at least to get some extra games at PNC for Mr. Nutting's wallet, at least.
Well, the problem is, if you want to go out and get a legit player at the deadline, chances are they're going to be under contract for the next couple of years. They're not going to go all in for this year with a paycheck for the next couple years.
Mm-hmm.
And the second issue is the prospects it's going to cost. We saw, it was nice to get O'Hearn. They went out, they spent a little bit of money in the offseason, but they're not going to spend big money. The only chance they have to have superstars is they have to have them develop through their system. They're not going to trade Florentino. Seth Hernandez doesn't matter because he's out for the year.
Right.
Suffered an injury.
Right.
But they're not going to trade those guys. And to get the big-time prolific ads at the trade deadline, watch and see. Watch and see what the Dodgers... Now, the Dodgers, they won't trade like DePaula, but they'll trade Zaire Hope, who's better than any outfielder the Pirates have. They have so much depth that they'll trade guys that are, top 100 in Major League Baseball. The Pirates won't trade a top 100 guy. And for that reason, they won't get anything really good at the trade deadline. They'll get piecemeal. They'll get some people that are on expiring contracts that may or may not help. They'll get some 35 or 36-year-old arms for the bullpen that were good 10 years ago. That's what they're going to get. They will not mortgage this future that never really comes.
Yep.
And they will not bring in anybody that's not on an expiring contract because they don't want to. What if they're not good next year? They don't want to be on the hook to pay these guys. So that's what you get when you look at how the Pirates run the trade deadline. All I'm saying is don't get super excited. When I come on, I don't even know if I'm on next week because they play at 2:10 against Milwaukee. But whenever I'm on next, when I start talking about who they acquired, don't anticipate. It's not going to be Mason Miller. Don't anticipate it being any big name.
It's not going to be Skubal.
It's not going to be Skubal.
By the way,
it's going to be a name you might recognize because they were good back when the Pirates were in the playoffs 10, 15 years ago.
If the Dodgers get Skubal, let's just call it a day. Why even have the playoffs? Just give the trophy to the Dodgers again.
Geez, look at the guys that are hurt, that are pitchers for them, including Edwin Diaz, their closer. They haven't had all year. Glasnow, Snell. They've got pretty much Cy Young winners that could make up a starting five of guys that are on the injured list.
And they're still, 25 games above 500. Wow.
Yeah, they still have the best record in baseball with all of that. All right, Nick, let's look ahead here. Let's see if we can predict this.
Yep.
So, Yohan Ramirez, Rhett Lauder, who wins tonight?
I'll give tonight to the Reds. No, Pirates. Because, I'm on the fence at Reds. I'll say the Reds win tonight.
I was going to say the Pirates, but now I've convinced myself Barco's going to come in and pitch.
Yep.
I'm going with the Reds tonight. I think Lauder has been bad. Lauder's hurt bad, but he's trying to pitch through it.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Reds tonight. All right, tomorrow Skeens and Green.
That's a great one. I think Skeens pitches really well, but Green will pitch better. I say the Reds win tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going with the Reds just because the Pirates can't hit Green.
No, they can't. He's good.
And Green normally, Green's a really good pitcher with really good stuff, but he battles injuries, and normally the record isn't good. But he always wins when he plays the Pirates. So I'm going to go with the Reds. Ashcraft and Abbott on Saturday.
The Pirates.
By the way, that's
cannot-
an evening game.
Yeah, it is. Saturday night games now the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Pirates cannot hit lefties at all, but they got to win one game in this series. I think the Bucks finally get to a lefty because he's not a great lefty. Pirates win against the Southpaw Saturday.
Yeah, I got Ashcraft. I got the Pirates on Saturday. Sunday, Keller and Burns.
Chase Burns is
Boy,
a phenom.
Chase Burns is good. Oh, is he good?
Can't wait to watch that. I'm watching that one for sure. Reds take 3
Probably
or
on
4.
Peacock.
Yeah, no, I think it's local actually, but yeah, it could be. The National should pick it up. I don't know, Dave. The way I'm predicting this, the way it's playing out, Reds might take 3 or 4.
And that's the last place, right? And then you go to Milwaukee. I won't even get into that, but your first game in Milwaukee, you're going to start Bubba Chandler.
Pirates might have to win tonight now that you look at that pitching the rest of the way because a
I
lefty.
think they have to win.
Green tomorrow, a lefty, and then Burns. They might have to win tonight. As weird as that says for July 30th. You just lost 2 or 3 to the team you're chasing.
They have to be smart, and this is the last place team. So we will see. Like I said, if I'm on next week, I have no idea if the station's carrying the game. With 210, that's going to at least limit me if I am able to come on. But if I'm on next week, we'll talk about the trade deadline acquisitions, and we'll see where the Pirates are in the standings. But this is must win. I mean, they really need to sweep this series, I think, because the Reds are in last place. At least take 3.
You're not sweeping a
we'll see
four-game
if they're
series.
able to do that.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. But, I mean, based on what happened at the end of this Arizona series, it's almost necessary, just based on where they are right now and knowing that they're probably not going to do anything till Monday as far as bringing in people. So we'll see. We'll keep you updated, hopefully next week. All right, let's take our final break of the show. When we come back, we'll fill in some gaps, get some baseball news, football news, and the NBA/WNBA roundup. Don't go anywhere.
When you need notary services, trust the best. Sandy Howell Notary Services, back-to-back gold medal winner for Best Notary in Fayette County. They're here for you with extended hours to fit your schedule. Sandy Howell's also the 2025 gold medal winner for Best Title Company. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 8:30, and Saturdays, 9 to 5. Call 724-564-8955 today for Sandy Howell Notary Services, where excellence is signed and sealed.
Masontown Matters presents the Founders Day celebration, a free concert marking Masontown's 150 years, Sunday evening, August 9th at 6 at Masontown German Park on Virginia Avenue, featuring the American Legion Post 400 Band, a WVU Mountaineer Fife and Drum Corps, and a Masontown 150-year reenactment. The Founders Day celebration concert, Sunday, August 9th at Masontown German Park. For more information, visit Masontown Matters on Facebook, advertising funded from the Fayette County America 250 Committee.
Hey, you looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle? Well, look no more, because with over 200 vehicles, Gary's Auto Sales is the largest used car dealer in the area. Whether you want a car, a truck, or an SUV, you'll absolutely find what you're looking for at Gary's. Gary's has been in business since 1974. You can visit them online at Gary'sAutoSales.com, or you can give them a call at 724-626-8080. Gary's Auto Sales. Many miles, many smiles.
Your voice matters, and your vote shapes our community's future. Make a difference this November by getting election ready. Visit vote411.org to check your voter registration, view candidates and issues on your ballot, and find your polling place. Empower yourself with knowledge before heading to the polls. To learn more, visit the Pennsylvania League of Women Voters at palwv.org. Every election and every vote counts. Let your voice be heard this November 3rd.
Hi, this is Dave Dunaway, and I'm here to remind you that Franco's Golf Center is open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by and see Franco's facility on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Franco's service area includes a lighted driving range and golf pro shop. Even my game has improved thanks to golf lessons with Franco's PGA instructors. Franco's also offers full custom club fitting and repairs by certified club fitter Greg Franco. Franco's is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Give Franco's a call at 724-438-6651.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4600.
4991 for the fine art of dentistry.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today, 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
WMBS.
Welcome back to the Sports Boys. Well, here we are getting ready for our final segment where we just fill in some odds and ends of things we did not get a chance to talk to. A little bit of breaking news. I don't think it's huge news, but this is a name that has been linked to the Steelers in the past. The New Orleans Saints just signed wide receiver Chris Olave. This is a big investment for a guy that is injured quite a bit, primarily by concussions. Signed an extension worth up to $132 million. The Saints also last week re-signed Alvin Kamara with ETN brought in to be the running back. So Taysom Hill yesterday was announced he's coming back. So they're trying to get a lot of weapons for Tyler Shuck. Not sure if they're the right choice in weapons. I don't see the Saints as a team really going anywhere this year, but they sure are investing a lot of money. Well, there goes your hope that Olave is coming to the Steelers, Nick.
Yeah, what a shame. And that's going to be, I don't know about that Saints team with Shuck and Kamara still there, right? So, yeah, that's good for him.
Baker Mayfield says he's disrespected by the latest offer given to him by Tampa. He is holding out or in or whatever they do these days. Not real thrilled. Is there potential that he could be on a different team next year?
Do you mean the one that I'm at training camp with right now?
I'm thinking that's what I keep hearing.
Because I don't think the quarterback of the future is on the roster right now. Not that the Steelers think about the future. They're only thinking about week 1 this year. God love them.
Tony Romo, everyone's favorite color analyst.
Here we go,
from the
Jim.
National Football League. Well, he got arrested earlier this week, apparently suspected of driving under the influence. He told them he was not drinking, but they found an open alcohol container in his vehicle. That just came out today. Do we see Tony Romo week 1?
We will. And CBS, I'm sure, is not thrilled with this. But, hey, famous people, even non-famous and rich people, get a driver, get an Uber. I think Tony could afford a limo. I mean, come on, man. Grow up. But he'll be there week 1.
Hey, if we're going to see Mike Vrabel week 1, we're going to see Tony Romo week 1. Kyle Shanahan in an accident where he said he almost lost an eye. Yeah.
And it was his
One-car
fault.
accident.
He admitted it.
It was his fault. Yeah. So, but not charged. The officer apparently said he opted not to charge him. So a lot of mystery that surrounds that. But, of course, the guru of developing quarterbacks and offense, even more so than Mike McCarthy, Kyle Shanahan, will be around. He's at camp right now. In Major League Baseball, the question marks are out there. Will Shohei Ohtani pitch this year? What do you think, Nick?
I don't know. I hope so. It's great to see him out there. The Dodgers certainly need another weapon. I mean, you mentioned all the injuries, but they're still humming along. I hope he does. I have no intelligence on it, but yeah, I hope he does. I hope Aaron Judge is back out there. I want to see stars play.
Well, and that's what Aaron Boone's saying. He expects to see his stars come back. Cody Bellinger just left with an injury. He's going to be out for a few weeks. So Stanton, Judge haven't been around for a while. I would expect the Yankees to add at the trade deadline. Tariq Skubal saluted by the Detroit fans, potentially the last time he pitches with a Tiger uniform. Apparently everyone expecting him to be the blue chipper at the trade deadline. And the Phillies GM, Bryce Harper, apparently saying that the Phillies need to add some reinforcements. This is after getting swept by the Miami Marlins this week.
Yeah, Harper's been around. He's a grizzled veteran. He does talk a little too much, and I always have to note, as soon as he left the Nationals, they won a World Series. But no, I like Harper. I like Schwarber. Phillies are hitting a little bit of a skid mark here, but I think they'll be fine. They'll get a wild card spot.
Nick, when you were a kid, I know you're still kind of a kid, but when you were a kid, did you ever collect baseball cards?
I did off and on. I wasn't really into it, but I did.
Did you ever imagine that you would open a pack and pull out a card that would be worth $10 million?
Never. I think that's just ludicrous, Dave. Tell us more.
I think this is a kid, too. They didn't say the name on here, but I know I saw the story when it came on the news. Boca Raton, Florida, pack is open. Redemption, 1 of 1. The card is made. I've seen it. 2 patches, 2 autographs. It's called the Logo Man. It's a 1 of 1. There are no other cards like it. It's Shohei Ohtani, and it's the back-to-back MVP years. It sold for over $10 million to a guy. I know one of his partners is Kevin O'Leary, the guy from Shark Tank, but they own this business where they buy sports cards and then resell them. So he spent over $10 million on this card. I wish, for all the years I had Sports Collectors Universe, I wish we would have seen $10 million total in cards come
I was
going to
say. So
never a card worth $10 million.
Didn't kids, at least they used to, put the cards in the spoke of their bikes? If that thing's worth $10 million, kids, don't put it in the spoke of your bike.
Well, they did like 80 years ago. That's why if you find those cards, they're worth money because so
Right.
many of them were in spokes of bikes.
So the famous Honus Wagner one, what did that go for?
That was in the millions, but not 10. I
10
don't know,
million
maybe.
is absurd. 10 million is absurd.
I can remember Wayne Gretzky and Bruce McNall, when he owned the Kings, had that Honus Wagner, the best one. They paid like $1 million for it. That was a huge deal. That was also 30 years ago.
Right.
So I don't know. It's been changing hands, so it's hard to say, but just craziness. Speaking of craziness, I know there's nothing much happening in the NBA. What's going on in the WNBA? Paige Beckers, Angel Reese making some sort of bet when they played each other, and nothing happened to them.
No, this
But
commissioner...
Pete Rose should have been a manager there.
Yeah, exactly. And this commissioner of the WNBA, not only is she not showing up for interviews she promised to do, but she's not punishing players for gambling. I know, where's the late, great Pete Rose when you need him? So Paige
Were
Beckers
they
and Angel
playing the
Reese...
game in the DraftKings casino?
They might have been. That's where the games are, in casinos. So, and finally, a scandal that doesn't involve Caitlin Clark getting knocked to the ground. Good for the WNBA.
Yeah, I'm sure she's still getting knocked around, but we haven't heard about it. That's just unheard of. Like I've never heard of.
It's nuts.
You're making a bet in season in a game you're playing in, and there's no discipline for that.
None. They don't care.
That must be the most relaxed league ever. Are they still in the regular season? It's not a playoff game, is it?
No, they just finished up their All-Star break, so they're in the second half of the season. But yeah, it's really just a big social experiment, the WNBA. I'm not even sure if they actually play basketball most nights.
I mean, the Clippers are just trying to make a trade, and they're getting disciplined. So the NBA, there's all sorts of rules. But
Yeah.
the WNBA, apparently nothing.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard. And, oh, Dave, breaking news.
LeBron.
LeBron's coming to Pennsylvania. It's the geriatric sports capital of the world between Rodgers and LeBron. LBJ, baby, 2 years, $8 million. Going to bring a title to Philly.
Do we root for them? Is that technically the team closest to our house, or is it Cleveland?
Well, that would be Cleveland, which he already won a
Okay.
title there. So he didn't go
All right,
there.
so
He
we
didn't go to
can't-
Miami.
We can't root for him.
No, we can't. But you could go to Philly and watch. The Jalen Brown's there. It's been a big offseason for the Sixers, and they're trying to knock off the Knicks, who just won it all. So good for LeBron.
Well, there you go. Everyone, thanks for listening. We have reached the end of the show. Nick's going to wrap things up at Latrobe, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you next Thursday, 4:15 to 6.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office, located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991, for the fine art of dentistry.
Your local station, WNBA.
He could pull the nomination. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A Senate vote on President Trump's nominee for Attorney General has been put off after it hit a roadblock from Republicans.
President Trump says he has no objection to temporarily withdrawing acting Attorney General Todd Blanche's nomination and renominating him next year. A vote in the Senate Judiciary Committee was postponed after Republican Senators John Cornyn and Tom Tillis demanded more information from the Justice Department about ending a weaponization fund and other elements of a settlement between the president and the IRS. Tillis is not running for re-election, and Cornyn lost a primary to a challenger endorsed by President Trump. Responding to the president's social media post, Cornyn says President Trump is mistaken if he believes concerns are limited to just the two Republican senators.
Fox's Jared Halper at the White House. 15 years in prison for the Georgia man who gave his son the gun used in a deadly 2024 school shooting. Colin Gray's sentencing comes a day after his son Colt was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole in the shooting at Appalachia High School. They killed 2 students and 2 teachers.
The loss here is profound, but I still have to distinguish your acts from the malignant heart in the acts that Colt Gray committed upon the Appalachia School.
Judge Nicholas Prim, Colin Gray is one of only a handful of parents in the U.S. to be criminally charged after their children were accused in shootings. Spain will deploy its military to restore order at its border with Morocco and Ceuta after thousands